Are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me tonight? Are you sorry we drifted apart? Does your
Hi guys, welcome to Significant Lovers. We are your hosts. My name is Mel.
And I'm Kel.
And I'm Caitlin, and this is a true love podcast, not a true crime podcast, although there are some crimes that might pop up in this particular episode. And we just like to uncover and talk about real relationships from history to today and just figure out why they worked or why they didn't. And how that relates to our real relationships, us and yours, and yeah, what that means for us.
So cute, Kate. I love how you make that up on the spot every time. We are also cousins / sisters, and thanks for joining us. Caitlin is hosting today.
Yeah, Kate, who are we talking about today?
We are talking about Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera.
Finally.
I know. Finally, highly requested couple.
I don't know anything about their relationship.
Ooh, good.
So this will be new to me.
Yeah, then this will be a surprise after surprise after surprise for you.
About a year or so ago, I thought about covering them. And I just started doing a little reading, but then I think I got scared. So I quit. But I don't really remember.
It's definitely a biggie, yeah. I knew a little bit about them going into it because I watched the Frida movie in high school for Spanish class.
Oh, when did that come out?
I looked it up before. 2002. It's starring Salma Hayek and Alfred Molina and Antonio Banderas, lots of high-profile movies. I think this was the same year as Shakespeare in Love. It was around then.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yep. Because I remember this had to do with, it was a big year, I remember, for Harvey Weinstein.
Oh. Why? Is that a Harvey movie?
It was a Harvey Weinstein movie, too.
It's a weird way to put it.
Well, because he had his hands in all these movies, and he was visiting the set of all of his films.
And being creepy.
And being creepy, yeah. And him, because Gwyneth Paltrow and Salma Hayek, I think, and a few of his other actresses were all up for Best Actress that year. So they were all in those movies that were Harvey Weinstein movies. Yeah. Well, anyway, so I knew a little bit about them, and so they were always on my list. And recently, on June 22nd, I put up a poll on Patreon asking for help to decide my next two couples, and they were on the list. And in my head, I already knew that automatically the historical couple with the highest votes was going to win one of the slots. And Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera were the couple that won the most votes. Historically, the historical couple that won the most votes. They got 23 votes.
Nice.
And, yeah. Before they won, though, they were very highly requested, as you can expect. Actually, I looked back, and a Patreon listener named Yannicka messaged us on Instagram all the way back in May 2023, saying that they were currently reading a book called Cleopatra and Frankenstein, which apparently referenced the couple. And Yannicka said, since I loved the episodes that date back to the early 20th century, I thought I'd just let you know that I'd be really interested to get to know them more if you decide to cover them in one of your episodes. And another listener back in May 2023, actually, funny how that happened, named Emmy, spelled E-M-Y, you know who you are if you're still listening, messaged us via Instagram and said, you probably have plenty of couples on the list already, but at some point I'd love a Frida Kahlo / Diego Rivera episode. If you're ever going to do it. And, well, sorry, Yannicka and Emmy, that you had to wait 2 years, but we are finally covering them.
There's a lot of people to cover.
I know.
Yeah.
How did you find that? You just searched Frida
I
Kahlo.
searched in our DMs just
I didn't know you
Frida.
could do that.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done that before and it didn't work, but maybe they updated their search
Yeah.
technology
And this
or
is
something.
our first artist we are covering.
Is
Right.
it?
Both artists, and I think they are the first.
Sometimes with
That
this
doesn't seem
podcast,
right.
it's like a little hard to have a diversity of occupations because most of the people who we know about as notable people with notable stories are like actresses and actors and singers. So it's nice to have people that we have heard of and know but are not Hollywood stars.
It is
Yeah.
nice.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, who hasn't seen some of her self-portraits? Like, they're really famous. And I've seen her image a lot on murals and things like that. But I don't know a ton about her life or his. I don't know really anything about his. So I think it's cool to, like, finally. I mean, I know some people listening might be, like, experts. But it's fun to learn about people that have always been like in your periphery. Like I felt that way about Marilyn Monroe. Like I always knew of her, but I didn't know like much actually about her. So it was really fun to get the context. And now when I see an image of her, it's like it's not just a image, you know.
So Kate, before we get into the episode, do you have any trivia prepared?
Nope. I told Kelly this episode is going to be way too long with the trivia, so I just decided to forgo it entirely. I didn't want to split. It's going to be way too long. This Frida and Diego, they're a wild bunch, and their story is so eventful that I could really not cut down their story that much. And I didn't want to split it into two parts because we are only doing 2 eps a month. And so I didn't want to rob you guys of an extra couple. There is going to be a lot of sensitive content in this episode, like pretty much everything under the sun. So trigger warnings aplenty, be warned. I will say when they come up, but I just want to say baseline warning now. But just be warned if you cannot handle, for whatever reason, which is fine, any sensitive content, maybe check out now.
All right. Well, we'll tell people as they come up to that.
As we come up to it. Yes.
Very courteous of you.
I also want to say that the sources that I use for this episode primarily is My Life, My Art by Diego Rivera and Gladys March. That's his autobiography. And Frida Kahlo, or Frida, a biography of Frida Kahlo by Hayden Herrera. And that's pretty much like the Bible for all things Frida.
So what 3 words would you use to describe their relationship?
This was hard because I felt like I had such a good sense for the relationship, so it's hard to boil it down to just 3 words. But the 3 words that I came up with was tumultuous, busy, and that's busy in more than just one way, and atypical.
Okay.
And that's atypical in more than just one way also.
Oh. What do you mean?
Like, they were atypical, but also
Their relationship was?
their relationship was atypical also.
Okay. As individuals and as a couple.
Yeah.
I'm looking through our episode list while we're talking because I'm like, I feel like we did an artist, right?
I don't think so.
When I did that like thing where I counted up everyone's jobs and stuff, I thought there was maybe it was just like director or something.
Yeah.
Artist. We've done writers, but
Yeah.
someone might have had like
someone's-
a hobby for art.
That's what I was thinking.
What about like Anna Marie Tendler?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. She's an artist.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. She's not
like a
side job.
She's not like a painter, but she's...
Yeah.
You're right.
She's like a multi-hyphenate, so it's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
Okay. Our first painters.
Yes. So first I'm going to start with Diego because he was born first. So Diego Maria de la Concepcion Juan Nepomuceno Estanislao de la Rivera y Barrientos Acosta y Rodriguez was born on December 8th, 1886. But you can just call him Diego Rivera.
Did you say Maria?
Yeah. That was his mother's name.
Never heard that. Of someone having like a son having his mother's first name as a middle name.
He was born in Guanajuato in Mexico to a couple named Diego and Maria. Like I said, Diego, his father, was a municipal councilman, but also maybe a teacher. No one knows. And Maria was a teacher, but also maybe owned or worked at a candy store, but later was an OBGYN.
Oh, what?
Varying reports. Anyways, Diego, the son, the subject of the episode, was born alongside his twin brother, Jose Carlos Maria. However, Jose Carlos, the twin, didn't live long. He passed away just shy of his second birthday. Mm-hmm. And because Diego, the subject of this episode's parents, were scared that he would suffer the same fate, he was sent to live with a nurse they knew in the country, and he lived with that nurse from ages 2 to 4. And when he was about 3 years old, his mother gave birth to a sister named Maria. And shortly after that, he was reunited with the family. But he apparently had a really good relationship with his nurse, so he stayed in touch.
Wait,
and
what did his brother die of?
Just, I think, like...
An illness?
Illness, yeah. So he stayed in touch with the nurse that he grew up with, and she was one of his muses, but...
Muses?
Yeah. He used to paint her. And although Diego initially dreamed of being an engineer when he grew up, Diego knew that his true calling in life was to be an artist. Even from a young age, he was immensely gifted. When he was a kid, his parents set aside a special room for him to make murals on the walls. By age 10, he took evening classes at the San Carlos School of Fine Arts. This was a few years after the family moved to Mexico City, which I forgot to mention. And by day, he still attended elementary school. At age 13, he was invited to attend the school full-time, not just at night, and was now entirely devoted to his art. Around this time, Diego had his first experience with sex, and in a similar vein to King James I, it's clear to see later down the line how this experience shaped his perceptions of love and sex, and I'll get
how old is he?
To this later down the line. Very young. I don't want to sugarcoat this. Again, trigger warning for this. It's very important to include because of the history of it, but it's also integral to who Diego is as a person. You can very clearly see how having experience of sex and being exposed to sex at such a young age definitely shapes him as a person. But the first time Diego had sex was at age 9.
Oh gosh.
And it was with an 18-year-old teacher.
Ugh.
Yeah. And then his next
Male
experience,
or female?
Female.
What?
And then his next experience was with a married woman at age 12.
The fuck?
While he was still a student
oh my
at
gosh.
the art school.
Well, so those really would be considered statutory rapes.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's fucked up.
I know.
Ugh.
Even until, like, his passing when he was a old man, you know, he never considered it such a way, which is sad.
What way?
But, like, as rape, you know,
Oh.
he considered it consenting. You know, he considered it a triumph, you know, that he had sex so young. And...
That's so sad.
I mean, it's probably his way of coping with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That's messed up.
And then... Okay, so this next bit I debated including, and I totally forgot about this because I've been doing research on this for weeks, but I thought it would be bad journalism. I don't know if that's what you would call this, so to say, for me to include this. But I want you guys to get the full picture. Yeah.
What could be worse than what we just heard?
But I want you guys to have the full picture of Diego. But in 1904, for 2 months, when he was 18, he and a few of his friends lived on a cannibal diet for 2 months.
What? How is that
Yeah.
even possible?
They purchased dead people from morgues and then ate them.
That's
Are we sure that's
so
true?
bad.
He said it in his autobiography. He could have been lying,
Maybe he was lying. I hope he was lying.
I hope he was lying too. I hope he was lying, but that's the wildest
Wait,
thing
how
to
could you
lie
even
about.
purchase dead people from morgues? How was that
Ew.
possible?
I don't know. Maybe there was unclaimed people. I wanted to barf when I read it in his autobiography. He described it in detail.
Oh my
Especially
god.
since he stated that he stopped eating human meat not because he was disgusted by it, but because other people were disgusted by him for eating it.
What the hell?
I know.
Okay, that's psycho either way. Like, either he did it or he's lying about it, which is fucking
that
weird.
there is nothing you can tell me in this episode that will make me like him after learning this.
I know. What's crazy is I completely forgot about that detail. I
Wow.
completely forgot.
So the rest of the story must have a lot of going on to forget that.
You cannot imagine.
I almost don't believe it.
I hope.
My friends, I probably shouldn't say this. I know someone, or like I know of someone who claimed he murdered someone once, but like that was, I really don't think
What?
true. People sometimes do stuff like that. Like they're
They just
weird.
lie?
Yeah, if they're liars, like sometimes people just want to shock others.
That people, pathological
I
liars like get off on like the
what's
entertaining
crazy-
people with their lie.
Yeah, like
Is-
I've eaten a person before.
Yeah.
Okay, I can believe that. But what's crazy is that is the craziest thing in his autobiography. Like, never once does he ever say anything remotely crazy or match
Everything
that
else is
craziness
normal?
in his. I mean,
Ish.
the rest of his life is crazy. I will say
So
that.
he in the biography
But-
he talks about like cooking people and like I hope they
At
were
that-
cooked.
I think he did cook them. Yeah,
That's
I don't think
sick.
he was eating
That
them
is
raw. I know.
twisted.
I know.
For my own sanity, I'm choosing to believe that he's just a crazy liar.
I hope he was lying. But that is a weird thing to lie about.
I know.
That's disgusting.
What do you guys think about when people have done that like out of necessity?
That's different.
I think that makes
Yeah.
sense, but I think it's
Still
also
gross,
like
but yeah.
gross. Yeah. But also,
I
where are
don't.
you in
I
that
wouldn't
position?
blame someone for doing it for
There
survival.
have been circumstances like there was a plane crash. What the show Yellow
Yellow
Jackets is
Jackets?
kind of inspired by. There was a soccer team that crashed in like the Andes
yes.
Mountains, and the people were already dead. So it's and they were in the snow, so they were like,
Yeah.
preserved. But it's still so disgusting. I can't.
Yeah.
think about it.
If that, yeah, okay. Cannibalism.
Wow, that's a first for significant lovers.
I know. And I hope it's the only case of that.
I know.
But so gross. And I just like it's weird to think that this is a love story and like he will have kissed the woman that we speak about in this episode because that is a
I
mouth I
know.
would never ever want to kiss. That's disgusting.
I know.
Did she
I
know about this?
I would assume. I hope.
That would definitely be a red flag.
I know.
Significant lovers poll. Would this turn you off?
This is an
If
red flag.
the love of your life told you he did eat human meat in the past, would you overlook that for love?
I'd be scared. I would be scared he'd chop me up and eat me. That's really...
I'm not judging. Love is love.
Yeah. I'm not even giving the full details. You know what? If you want to read the full details, read his autobiography.
No. I don't want the details.
I know. That's why it would give you it would like make you want to barf even more. I'm telling the listeners, like, if you
okay.
want the full details, like, read it. But like, I think it would make you guys queasy. Well,
Okay,
anyway,
let's move on.
on a lighter note, in 1905, Diego received an art scholarship to travel to Europe. And so from 1907 to 1909, Diego traveled to Spain and then Italy, then France, Belgium, Holland, and then England, studying various movements, mostly modern, and experimenting with different styles. And while in Brussels, Diego met a young, blonde Russian woman who was also a painter named Angeline Beloff. They dated for about a year, spending most of that time together in London and Paris, and then he spent a year in Mexico City. In 1911, he returned to Paris and they reunited. That same year, they married. So he was married.
First wife.
Yeah. By 1913, Diego is gaining attention in the Cubist movement. He was considered avant-garde. His name began to circulate in the same conversations as Picasso's, and he even became friends with Picasso, who was an idol of his. And here's when I'll tell you a little bit about Diego's personality. I know you might be a little turned off to him, but he's also been described, besides a cannibal in the past, as being ambitious, passionate, charismatic, opinionated, a bit contradictory in his beliefs, a real ladies' man, womanizer, creative, and hardworking, and all of which I believe to be true based on my research. As for his appearance, well, he was 6'1" with dark wavy hair, dark brown eyes, and tan skin. His weight was said to have fluctuated during most of his adult life, but for the most part settled around 300 pounds or more. Despite being known as quite a lady killer, he was also known as being quite unattractive too. Even calls himself a frog to others. Hayden Herrera, the writer of the Frida autobiography, in her book calls him undeniably ugly.
Well, I was laughing already that you were like, in his appearance, because all throughout researching, you keep telling me how ugly he is.
He was self-aware.
I told you that I think if he lost some weight, like I think his face was actually okay.
Do you think knowing about the cannibalism also like makes him kind of ugly? Like it just like adds to the grossness? No, you think he's ugly anyway?
Yeah, because Kelly didn't know about the cannibalism until just now.
Well, he also had like really unflattering haircut. It's like,
Mel, you'll see pictures of him later.
He must be charismatic.
His hair looks quite greasy too. He like looks unwashed, but I feel mean.
Well, anyway, in 1916, Angelina, his wife, gave birth to a son named Diego Miguel Angel. Angel? Must be Angel. The following year, in 1917, after nearly 10 years together, Diego left Angelina for a friend of theirs named Marivna, whom he had been sleeping with for some time previously. Marivna and his relationship only lasted 6 months, however, and when it did, it ended disastrously. On their last night together, Marivna stabbed Diego in the back of his neck and then slashed her own throat.
How did he survive?
She died?
No, thankfully both survived.
Oh, how do you slash your throat and survive?
I don't know. Must not have been that deep.
Yeah.
After that, Diego went back to Angelina. Why she took him back, I have no clue. Especially since Marivna was pregnant. I know.
Was she Russian too?
I think so.
Wow.
In 1919, Marivna gave birth to a daughter named Marica Rivera, but Diego never had a role in her life, even despite the mother and daughter's attempts.
Sad.
There's varying reports, but either way, while he was still with Marivna or shortly after he left her, Angelina and Diego's son passed away. He was the same age as Diego's brother when he died, just shy of 2. In 1921, Diego returned to Mexico and Angelina did not come with. Apparently, there was not enough money for a second ticket, which is what I kind of mentioned the last episode when someone didn't accompany someone. I think because there was low. You said somebody didn't come with someone. I was like, maybe they were just low on funds.
Somebody.
Was it with Leonard Cohen?
No, I knew it was Leonard Cohen, but I didn't know who it was with. Was it Leonard and...
Yeah, Marianne.
And Marianne?
Yeah, Marianne. Yeah, yeah. That might have been why. I do remember you saying that.
But because there wasn't enough for a ticket, he just went back to Mexico, and I guess that was just kind of at the end for them, and they divorced soon after. And so, yeah, he went back to Mexico, and soon after that, he met a Mexican model and novelist named Guadalupe Marin, or just Lupe for short, and in 1922, he and Lupe were married.
A model?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So he's on his second marriage now. Anyway, shortly after Diego and Lupe got married, Diego was working on a mural at the National Preparatory School when all of a sudden, actually, you know what? I'm just going to read the excerpt from Diego's autobiography instead of explaining it.
Okay.
He wrote, "All at once the door flew open and a girl, who seemed to be no more than 10 or 12, was propelled inside. She was dressed like any other high school student, but her manner immediately set her apart. She had unusual dignity and self-assurance. There was a strange fire in her eyes. Beauty was that of a child, yet her breasts were well developed. She looked straight up at me and asked, 'Would it cause you any more annoyance if I watched you at work?' 'No, young lady, I'd be charmed,' I said. She sat down and watched me silently, her eyes riveted on every move of my paintbrush. After a few hours, Lupe's jealousy was aroused and she began to insult the girl. But the girl paid no attention to her. Yada yada, anyway. The girl stayed 3 hours. A year later, I learned that her name was Frida Kahlo. I had no idea that she would one day become my wife."
Oh my god.
I see why you gave the warning in the beginning. That's icky. She's like 10 years old at this point.
Actually, no. He gave her age wrong.
How old is she?
She was
older or
when
younger?
they met.
I know,
She was older. She
Okay,
was 16.
Okay.
Oh, phew.
I know.
But he still
Okay.
thought that she was 10. I mean, 16
That's
is
weird.
still not great,
I
but
know.
he thought she was 10.
I know. I was worried when I first read that. I was like, ugh. It's still weird.
Yeah.
It's
And
still
that he like
weird.
noticed her breasts.
Yeah.
I know.
And she's supposedly 10, although she wasn't. It's like Game of Thrones or something. Creepy.
Yeah. Frida did lie about her age. I didn't really include it in my thing. I think maybe he was playing into that because she was born in 1907, but she wanted to pretend and lie that she was born in 1910. That still wouldn't really add up.
Why?
So
Did she want to seem like a prodigy or something?
No, because 1910 was the year that I think the Mexican Revolution happened, and so she wanted to make it seem like she was born the same year as the Mexican Revolution happened.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Okay.
Do what you want to do, but still.
That's a little disturbing.
I did look it up, which probably looked creepy on my part. I think the age of consent in Mexico at the time was like 12, which is weird.
Oh, wow.
Not good.
Might maybe creepy on my part. Well,
It definitely looked weird.
I guess it's like within their norms was that normal.
Yeah.
Even though we wouldn't say it. It does seem late in time. Like what, this is the 1920s though? It seems
Yeah, it's the 1920s.
wicked late in history for it to be okay to be like interested in a 10-year-old. I don't even think it was ever okay actually, because like I listen to a lot of history podcasts about medieval times and stuff, and like even when people were 10, like they wouldn't actually get married. Like it is kind of creepy, but they would like
No.
they would be like betrothed, but they wouldn't actually do anything
I
or
will
expect
say-
anything. Ugh.
Nothing happens. Nothing happens when she's underage.
Okay, good.
So don't be worried.
Got it. So now, Frida, who is this?
Yeah.
Young Frida.
Who's this Frida? Magdalena Carmen Frida Kahlo y Calderon was born on July 6, 1907 in Coyoacan, Mexico City, Mexico. Frida's father, Carl Wilhelm, or Guillermo Kahlo, was a German photographer who immigrated to Mexico in the late 1800s.
He's German?
He's German.
Wow.
And Frida's name is actually spelt Frieda originally. I think that's...
Oh.
Yeah, and that's how she spelled it for many years until the 30s when Hitler came to power. So if that comes up at bar trivia, you can win.
What would the question be?
I don't know what's Frida Kahlo's original name spelling. I don't know.
What famous Mexican artist was actually half German?
Yeah, maybe. That seems easy. I don't know.
I think that seems hard. Okay,
I feel like
if you
just,
don't
like,
know.
Mexican artists.
how many Mexican
Yeah, I
artists?
guess you're right.
Well, anyway, Frida's mother, Matilde Calderon, was his second wife. His first wife, who also had been Mexican, died in childbirth with their second child. Frida had 5 siblings that lived past infancy, and 2 of which were half siblings from her father's previous marriage.
Okay.
Also, just like Diego, Frida had a wet nurse, a native wet nurse too, and she also had a good relationship with her family, especially with her father. They also seemed really close.
Were they wealthy?
I was just about to say that.
Oh.
Frida had initially been born into comfortable wealth. Her father had been a well-commissioned photographer by the Mexican government. But then in 1910, the Mexican Revolution began, and then the 10-year Civil War. And as a result, the father received less work. So during this time, they had to sell most of their furniture and take in tenants to pay the bills. Unfortunately, the family's bad luck continued. In 1913, when Frida was 6, she came down with polio and spent 9 months of that year essentially bedridden. She eventually recovered except for her right leg. The muscle of it atrophied, just completely thinned, and never came back. No matter how hard she tried to build it back up with sports and exercise, her leg remained that way basically for the rest of her life. Hayden Herrera, the autobiographer, wrote, which I think perfectly gives you a sense of who Frida is. When she recovered and returned to school, she was teased and left out. Her reaction was alternatively to withdraw. She said she became an introverted creature, and to overcompensate by first becoming a tomboy and later a character.
She felt like an outcast.
Frida, yeah. But Frida was not just a tomboy. She was also caring, resilient, and passionate, nurturing, creative, strong, stylish, and opinionated. In terms of personality, she and Diego were very similar in many ways, although that's where the similarities ended. Frida was regarded as very uniquely beautiful. She had long dark hair, light tan skin, brown eyes, a unibrow, and a perfectly maintained mustache above her upper lip. She was iconic. Well, her look was, I guess. Especially paired with an ever-present lipstick grimace. She never smiled in portraits.
Wow.
And she always wore lipstick.
I love how her style and her look defies beauty standards, especially with her eyebrow, but she is regarded beautiful because of it. And I feel like we can all take a lesson in that. If you have any unique feature on your face or any part of your body, but like whatever it might be, that is your uniqueness. And I know we were just shitting on Diego's look, so I hope, you know.
That was his uniqueness.
Yeah,
but
and
no.
he still got some, you know. He was very, he was considered a good catch at his time, I guess.
Yeah.
Kate, I was curious, like, do you know what back then the reaction was of her unibrow and mustache? Was that a common look for women to do? Or, because, I mean, it's not very common today for someone to just embrace it, which is too bad, maybe. Yeah, do you know? It's okay if you don't.
I don't want to say for certain. I think it was slightly more common in Mexico. I wouldn't say it was like the most common or anything like that. I don't think it really was. In 1922, Frida began attending the National Preparatory School. Frida was one of 35 girls in attendance out of a 2,000 student body. It was a very prestigious school and hard to get into. At the time, Frida was pursuing a career in medicine. I mentioned before that Diego painted a mural at her school, and that part is true, as is his recollection of their first meeting, as far as I'm aware. But what you don't know is that Frida had been obsessed with that man long before they officially met. As soon as he started working at her school and she had clamped eyes on him, she was gone for him, apparently.
Wow.
Couldn't tell you why, but she was. Sometimes she'd hide behind scaffolding in the dark and just watch him work, or yell out warnings to him that someone was coming.
I wonder if she lied about that. If, like, years later, when they were together, she, like, revisionist histories.
No, and I'll get into this, but people who knew her said, like, she told me that she had a crush on him and stuff. Apparently one time she even snuck and stole food from his lunch basket and then snuck away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But so is she like 16?
She's like 16.
Okay.
And one day she told a classmate, "My ambition is to have a child by Diego Rivera, and I'm going to tell him so someday." And the classmate apparently responded saying that Diego is ugly. And Frida said, "Diego is so gentle, so tender, so wise, so sweet. I'd bathe him and clean him. I'd have his baby just as soon as I can convince him to cooperate." I don't know where Hayden Herrera got this information, but according to her, Frida used to refer to Diego as Old Fatso and Fat Belly in her head, but I think mostly in anger because he wasn't paying attention to her.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, after their first meeting in 1922, she coming in and watching him work and, they parted ways for many years, thank God. It would have been hella creepy to us, although, again, maybe not technically illegal for the time, had they begun a romance as soon as they met at 16 years old and 36, because that's how old he was.
Oh my God.
Because they have a 20-year age difference. Yeah, so they parted ways. During that time, Diego traveled to Russia and Germany and had a whole experience with Hitler and Stalin and the Communist Party as a whole that I'm not going to get into. If you're interested, I highly recommend reading up on his time.
Okay.
And
you don't have
his
to
life and whatever.
You don't have to get into it, but what do you mean whole experience with Hitler? Like, did he...
I know, that's a weird way to phrase it.
Did he?
With Hitler and Stalin and all those people.
Answer the question.
That makes it sound like they went to a hot springs and they did drugs together and had a weekend.
Or was he held captive or something? Like, what happened? Did they meet? Or did you just mean living in their society or whatever?
It was more just living in their society. He did meet Stalin, and
okay,
there is stuff with Hitler. Again, I wrote this part of the script weeks ago, so now I'm not even remembering what even happened with Hitler, but there was a lot.
Okay, was it do you remember the Wallace episode? Was it like that, or did they actually interact, or was it?
It wasn't like he was pro-Hitler or something.
No, but
because he was a big communist, so he wasn't pro-Hitler or anything like that, And I think he saw Hitler speak, but obviously not in a pro way. Again, I wrote this a while ago, but when I was reading his autobiography, and it came to this whole part when they were all these years away, when he wasn't in Mexico, it truly read like a novel, almost. It was crazy, so wow. I recommend it. Anyway, all this time, Diego is still married to Lupe, though he wasn't faithful, as ever. He never is. And Frida had a long-term relationship with a boy named Alejandro, or Alex as she liked to call him. Also during this time in 1925, Frida had her first homosexual or lesbian experience with an older librarian / school teacher that was apparently traumatic because her parents found out and it caused a scandal. Frida's bad luck would only continue, however, as, sadly, this is kind of another trigger warning for sensitive content surrounding automobile accidents. On September 17th, 1925, she was involved in a devastating accident. She'd been riding the bus with her boyfriend Alex when the bus was suddenly hit by a trolley. What resulted was nothing short of a nightmare for everyone involved, including Frida. And again, I need to kind of get into this information regarding her injuries. It's going to be graphic, but it's only because it really affects her later down the line, because this accident basically changes her life forever. Her spinal column had been broken in 3 places in the lumbar region. Her collarbone was shattered, as was her 3rd and 4th ribs. She had 11 fractures in her right leg, her already so-called bad leg, and her right foot was dislocated and crushed, whatever that means. Her left shoulder was dislocated. Her pelvis was broken in 3 places.
Oh my God.
So painful.
And that was not even the worst of it.
What?
She also had a steel handrail skewered in her body. It apparently entered in the left side of her abdomen and exited out of her vagina.
What? Oh, no. I can't believe she even survived that.
I know. Apparently she was on the operating table, and for the first day that she was in the hospital, nobody knew if she was going to live or survive.
Oh my God.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Especially back then. I can't believe... I mean, I know they had surgery back then, but...
Yeah. After the accident, Frida only spent a month in the hospital and then another 2 months recuperating at home. By the 3rd month, Frida was seemingly miraculously up and back at work, as she was. And she was. However, she continued to deal with chronic pain in her spine and right leg. Sometimes she'd have to walk with a limp. It was so bad. She'd also have to frequently wear plaster corsets to help mend her spine and have repeat surgeries for her injuries.
That seems soon to me. 3 months later, she was just back
I know.
up.
I don't know how. I don't know.
I wonder if she had to like take a lot of pain medication too.
I think she did.
Yeah.
I think she also had to have a lot of repeat surgeries, and the reason why she was out of the hospital so quick is because, again, it was the 20s, and I think the doctors kept being like, oh, your last doctors, they didn't do this right. So I think they just kind of pushed her out of the hospital and pretty quickly.
Oh, God.
And they were just like, you're all better. And so they didn't really do a correct job initially. And so they were just constantly just bringing her back into the hospital and being like, your last doctors, they didn't do this right, you know? So
That's awful. Poor Frida. I feel like she's had enough problems.
This is probably a stupid question, but with that injury that you described, like, could that impact her ability to, like, have kids or have sex?
it definitely the former, not the latter. Kids, yes, and that does come up a lot.
Okay, yeah.
In this story, unfortunately. Frida later said in 1938 that she did not think about painting or being a painter until after her accident. She said, I was in bed on account of my automobile accident. I was bored as hell, so I decided to do something. I stole from my father some oil paints, and my mother ordered for me a special easel because I couldn't sit up, and I started to paint. And she did. Like Diego, I'm not going to go in depth into Frida's art and her artistry unless it pertains to them as a couple, so if you're interested, I recommend you look elsewhere. Sorry. In June 1928, after about 6 or 7 years together in an off and on relationship, Frida and Alejandro finally broke up, though they stay in contact for the rest of her life. Not that I'm going to really mention him again, but just want to put that out there. Which was the perfect time for Frida and Diego to meet up for the second time. Like I said before, during their first time apart, Diego was still married to Lupe, but by 1928, their marriage was essentially over, regardless of the 2 kids they had together, ended mostly because of infidelity on Diego's part, naturally.
Yeah.
In 1928, Frida decided to take some of her paintings to Diego Rivera, who she knew was painting a mural for the Ministry of Education in Mexico City. She marched over there with her paintings and saw him on the scaffolding and yelled up to him, "Hey Diego, come down." And when he did, she said, I'm paraphrasing, "I'm not here to flirt or have fun. I have some paintings to show you, and I want your honest opinion. I don't want compliments. I want criticism. I want to know if I should continue to paint." And he told her she had talent and that she should continue. I assume this story is true because both Frida and Diego tell a similar story in both their recollections. So that's how the story goes. In his retelling, he remembers Frida as the girl from all those years before and tells her so. And she says, "Yes, so what? But that has absolutely nothing to do with now." She then invites him to her family house to see more of her art. And he says that in his head, he wanted to say more than ever, but he only said yes. Like more than ever, it means something. Like, yeah, so what? What does that have to do with anything? And he means more than ever, it means something, you know. Again, in his autobiography, Diego says that a few days after his first visit to Frida's house, they shared their first kiss. He was, I think at the time, 42 and she was 21. So literally at this point in time, twice her age.
Wow.
Wow.
And Diego visited Frida on Sunday afternoons from then on. And Rivera believes that the reason why Frida and Diego worked so well together, at least in the beginning, was because they didn't bore one another, especially that Frida didn't bore Diego. She was very different from other girls. I know how that sounds. She was a communist like him. She wore jeans. She wore leather jackets with patches and overalls. She had a cool sense of fashion and was always experimenting with her style. She would attend rallies. She had a dark sense of humor, and she was always a great painter. Although not as great as him, according to Frida, she thought he was the best, and knowing he liked her stuff gave her more confidence when it came to her art and artistry.
Wow. I think this is the biggest age gap we've covered on the pod.
I forgot to look into it.
Why did I think we had one that was like 32 years?
Cleopatra and...
It's probably one of yours, Caitlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, or what
Cleopatra
about...
and Caesar might have had more of an age gap. 31.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Never mind.
Okay, so In either late 1928 or early 1929, I expect the latter, Frida and Diego became engaged.
What? This is all happening, like, doesn't really feel like there's, like, much of a courtship. Like, it just kind of happened.
I know, I guess if you know, you know. I don't know. Frida said of it that her parents were not happy, in part because Diego was a communist, and also because he looked like a fat frugal, which I don't know what that means. I tried looking that up. No results came up that made sense, so if you know more, let me know. I don't know. Apparently, they said that their marriage would be like a marriage between an elephant and a dove.
Oh my gosh.
The mom even went so far as to beg Frida's ex Alejandro to try and get Frida to rethink her decision.
Oh my god.
In Diego's defense, it does seem like Frida's dad was a little bit more in his corner. I think he saw the benefit of having Diego's money in the family, which I think he was right to think, actually, because, spoiler alert, Diego did pay off the parents' mortgage after the wedding took place.
Wow. That's generous. So he was doing well with his art financially?
I didn't really mention that, but yeah, he's doing well. I mean, he is doing like all these murals in Mexico City. Like, he's in Mexico. In Mexico, he's doing well. Like, locally and nationally. He hasn't really made it big.
But paying off a mortgage
elsewhere.
is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Someone else's, that you're able to afford that.
Exactly.
At least he wants to marry her.
I know. Okay.
Unlike Leonard Cohen.
True.
Anyway.
I know.
Anyway, but
I love you, but I'm never going to get married.
Does it even...
I know. Is it even better?
Even faithful?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay.
So, Frida and Diego got married on August 21st, 1929 in her local court in Coyoacan. There were apparently 3 people in attendance at the ceremony other than the bridegroom and the presiding judge. They were Frida's hairdresser, doctor, and her dad. Apparently at the wedding. Yeah.
He seems sweet.
Apparently. I know. He definitely seems sweet. She had a really close connection with him. Apparently at the wedding, Frida's dad said to Diego, "Notice that my daughter is a sick person, and all her life she will be sick. She's intelligent, but not pretty." Which, okay, that's a diss. I think she is pretty, but anyway. "Think it over if you want. If you wish to get married, I give you my permission."
That made me sad.
I know. I get what he means, though. Like, looks aren't gonna be forever, and she is sick, so, like, you have to realize this is gonna be forever.
Yeah.
You have to see, like, you have to be in it. Sickness and in health, you know. Yes. He also may have said during the wedding, according to Diego's account, the dad, it is not true that we are play acting. Like, this is just pretend. Like, this isn't a real wedding. Right? Like, we're just making this up, you know? I don't know. Anyway.
Did people accuse them of play acting?
No, he was just hoping that this was all fake. She's not actually getting married. This is all fake type of thing, you know? I don't know. So, it seems like more people came to the reception, I guess, including maybe Diego's ex-wife, Lupe. According to Diego's autobiography, she came and made a scene. But according to Frida's account, she was not there, and it was actually Diego who made a scene at the reception.
So he's a liar.
Really funny. That's really funny.
Yeah. He got very drunk on tequila, took out a gun, broke things, including a man's finger, and then they got into a fight and she left the venue crying.
Who left the venue crying? She did?
She left the venue crying. And the way she tells the story, they didn't talk for a few days until he finally came and picked her up from her parents' house and brought her to their own home.
Wow. After their wedding, they didn't talk for a few days.
That's what it sounds
crazy.
Like from the way she describes it.
That's pretty bad.
I know.
That's hilarious, though. He's like, my ex came and started shit and broke stuff. I'm like, no, that was you. How drunk was he?
I don't know. And then here's a picture that's supposedly their wedding portrait.
She's very pretty. He doesn't look that bad there. It all comes down to personality. Like, if he has a great personality, then, like, you know, he could be cute in, like, a Jack Black kind of way.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I am picturing that he is very sweet. I mean, I know some of his actions don't seem like it, but that he is, like, gentle to talk to and stuff. But in this picture, his eyes do look a bit beady. I think it might be just the editing or like the colorization they did, but it looks a little scary.
Yeah, it might just be the editing.
It's funny how they used to do that back then. Like, they would basically do Photoshop, like they would paint on the picture. Oh, she looks cute. I like her little bow headband.
I know.
Her accessories are very Blair Waldorf, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And her shoes. You wouldn't expect that.
Okay, so 2 months after their wedding, Diego was expelled from the Mexican Communist Party because he had accepted a commission to paint a mural for the National Palace of Mexico. Diego remained a communist, as did Frida, but in support of her husband, she also left the party. And expulsion from the party was a huge blow for Diego, so he threw himself into his art, and at the same time, Frida threw herself into being a wife. And one of the reasons I don't believe Diego's allegations that Lupe ruined their reception is because, bizarrely, Lupe really took Frida under her wing during this time. Whether out of kindness of her own heart or because Frida asked, I don't know, but one day she just started to come over and help Frida learn how to be a good wife and best to cater to Diego. She taught Frida what his favorite meals were and how to best make them and the best pots and pans are, stuff like that.
That's sweet.
When Frida was engaged, she painted a self-portrait. When she was married, she painted another one. Though only months passed between the creation of the two paintings, art historians notice a subtle difference between the two. In the married portrait, she looks a little unhappy. Frida supposedly told a friend years later that early into the marriage she had... Okay, sorry. And I just want to say that this is going to be a little sensitive, but Frida supposedly told a friend years later that early into their marriage, she had an abortion at 3 months because the doctor told her that she would not be able to carry the baby to term because it was in the wrong position. Apparently, she cried inconsolably about it. She was very upset that they could not have a baby. Children were very important to Frida. She loved children and babies and really wanted one of her own, but it seemed like that maybe wasn't something that we wouldn't be able to have, but she still wanted to try, so that will come up and keep coming up. But I just want to let you know.
That's so sad.
But while she's dealing with that, around the same time, Diego was supposedly having an affair with his assistant.
Oh my god.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. And it's hard for me to tell if Frida cares about his affairs or not. Some historians will act like she's very blasé about it, like if they amuse her and she doesn't care, and maybe that's so, but then in some cases she'll be very jealous, or there'll be a story like one I'll get to later that'll contradict that idea, so I don't know what to believe. I don't know. She was also a bit of a cheater herself in her relationship with Alejandro, which I didn't really mention, so she doesn't really entirely have a leg to stand on. They're kind of one and the same. If they were alive and famous this day, they would for sure be that married couple that doesn't shut up about their open and ethical, non-monogamous, totally. If they were a couple today, that would be who they were.
I didn't realize her ex was still in the shadows all the time. Like, that he was still in the picture. That's funny.
He's not really in the picture. Like, she's not sleeping with him or anything. But she does write letters to him and stuff.
You think she's still in love with him a little bit?
No.
Oh.
But she did cheat on him when they were in a relationship.
Oh.
She'd be like, there was one letter she wrote to him once where she was like, yes, I go on dates with people and I kiss them and I sleep with them and I tell them I love them, but I don't love them more than you.
Wait, so that's to Alejandro?
Yeah, that was to Alejandro. I digress. Well, anyway, so I mentioned before that Frida was big into fashion, and she was especially at this time. In 1930, she began dressing in traditional Tehuana garb, which became a staple of hers, and many suspect that she adopted the native Mexican clothes to please Diego because he liked it, but I think she liked it too. She was the type of person who loved to dress up, even on the days when she was her sickest. And even towards the end of her life, which I'll kind of get into. Kind of some insight into their marriage. Apparently, Diego liked to be babied. He was kind of a giant baby, which Frida calls him a bunch. Apparently, he liked to be bathed every day by Frida, and she liked doing it. She mentioned when she was younger to her classmate that she wanted to bathe him, and she got that wish. She did bathe him pretty much every day, and he acted like a brat sometimes apparently and liked to have his toys. Oh my God. One time they
Have like mommy issues? What was the deal with his mom? I guess he got sent away when he was really young.
He did kind of have mommy issues.
Yeah.
It was weird. I didn't fully mention it. I kind of skipped over it a little bit because I was like, oh, there's already enough. But he got sent away and he had a wet nurse. And then he came back and he kind of had this big problem with his mom. And he always loved his wet nurse more than his mom. And it was just this big issue. And apparently there's a story about one time they had a family friend over who had a kid. And there was toys out, and this family friend was like, who are these toys for? And Frida was like, oh, like to the kid, like, you can have one of these toys, but don't let Diego see you have one of these toys. And the kid was like, okay. And the kid had the toy, and Diego saw it, and...
Adult Diego.
Diego. And the family friend saw Diego react, and Diego was like acting like a big baby. Like,
oh my God.
I don't know. It was Frida was like a
what kind of toy?
Away. I think it was like a car or something. I don't know. It was.
I mean,
it was something like that.
We don't usually call it that, but I'll stick up for Diego here and say that I think a lot of adults actually do have toys. Like a lot of grown men do have train sets, or our dad has those model cars. I have my Russian nesting dolls and
well, and like
Funko Pops,
something like that.
First of all, there's like those really expensive stuffed animals that are like super in now that like people spend like
the
$50 on. Oh yeah, Labubus, but then like Jellycat, is that what it is?
Jellycat.
Don't understand it.
I have two of those. They're both gifts. They're gifts, though. I've been letting this... I haven't even heard it said out loud, Laboob. I've just been letting that pass me by.
Me too. I don't pay any attention.
I haven't... Yeah. I'm, like, not engaging. And I keep seeing posts that are like, this is getting out of control. I'm like, what? I'm not even...
I'm choosing to ignore.
Yeah. Anyway.
Around the same time, the opinion of Diego began to sour in Mexico. I think just because he's a communist, and his celebrity began to rise in the United States. So in 1930, Diego was offered around $80,000 in today's money to paint murals in San Francisco. And he and Frida spent around a year in San Francisco, and while there, Diego had a notable affair with a tennis player named Helen Willis. And during her time in California, Frida painted a portrait of the two of them. This one's cute, but our historians like to think like they really read into it. It's like he's looking away from her, and he looks like he's jutted out, and he's not really holding her hand, and he's really trying to be clutching on to him, and like painting is really what's really important to him. And I don't know, like,
what's that expression he has?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's a lot, and there probably is a lot that Frida is trying to portray, but
both of their expressions aren't really unhappy, but they're also not happy either. I don't know.
Yeah, so there probably is a lot that's trying to be portrayed. It probably is showing, probably isn't the most happy of marriage going on right now in 1930.
I love there's like a bird, maybe a dove or something, holding like a little banner or piece of paper with writing on it. It's so cute. And I love how you can see behind, because I zoomed in, like behind it, I think it was in pencil or something, you can see what she did before. It reminds me of things I've made, which I've always felt sloppy for, that you could see like the pencil marks, but it kind of makes me feel better that she had that too. And so what does it say? It's like Frida Kahlo, I don't know, my spouse, my husband, Diego Rivera.
Yeah.
The beautiful city of San Francisco, California. Cute. Wow.
And then here's a photo of them around the same time in San Francisco.
Okay.
It's like a father and daughter.
It does. I do think she's pretty.
Yeah,
she is pretty.
I feel like her unibrow was a little overstated in portraits, too.
Yeah, agreed. And her mustache.
Not as obvious in photographs.
Well, actually, that portrait, she doesn't have a mustache.
No, yeah.
Yeah, she does overdo it in the painting. In that picture, in the photograph, he looks pretty happy, but she has like this sort of serious face. But it's just a moment in time.
Yeah. She doesn't really like to smile in photos.
Oh. In the painting, sorry, I'm still looking at it, she made her feet look so small.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like accurate or
They're like little,
they're
like,
teeny.
Compared to his, it's like a tenth of the size.
I never noticed that.
It's interesting too how he's holding a palette and paintbrushes. But she's not. But like she painted this. You know, she's an artist too. It's just
Yeah.
interesting that she definitely sees him as the artist.
I don't think even though she paints, I don't think she's really considers herself like an artist yet. You know?
Okay. It's fun to analyze. Okay.
Okay. In June 1931, Diego and Frida returned to Mexico at the behest of the president because Diego still had to finish work for him. And upon this return, Diego began to build their new home. Well, he wasn't like physically building it. And this was to be 2 houses which were to be linked by a bridge. In July, Diego received an invitation from the art advisor to the Rockefellers to have an exposition of his work in the Museum of Modern Art in New York, which opened 2 years prior, and a few months later, the Riveras were in New York City.
What?
Yep.
I've been to the MoMA. Did I see that? Maybe.
I think it was just a temporary exposition. I don't think it was like a permanent one. I'm sure his work was maybe there. I don't know how. But is his stuff even considered modern still, or hers?
Yeah, modern is its own time because now we're in contemporary.
Exactly.
Yes,
So
what
I
do you
think
mean?
his stuff. Well. Oh, so is his stuff modern?
Yeah.
Oh, it's modern.
Yeah.
So now we're in contemporary.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe his stuff is still there then. I don't know.
I know, it's kind of weird. I don't know when modern ended.
I don't know.
Maybe
then.
like, when did modern
What are we in after contemporary then?
I don't know.
How many more new words can we come up with for modern?
Apparently modern art
as
ended in the 1970s.
Oh, really?
I think I love that. I think it's so cool that we have these eras where like everything is defined by like even dance. If you think about like modern dance, and there's also
Yeah.
contemporary
I
dance.
never really knew the difference.
And they're a little bit different. I know. Modern and contemporary is kind of similar. I do like modern art. I actually hate contemporary art for the most part.
Maybe you'll come to like it eventually.
Those
I
are
don't
like
know.
those are the art museums where it's like creepy and just ugh. I don't like it. Anyway.
Well, I mentioned before that Frida could sometimes act jealous, and she could. There's a particular instance in November of 1931 in New York at a dinner party where she went to a woman she thought was flirting with Diego, and she yelled at her, "I hate you."
I would do that too.
No, you wouldn't. You would just go, I hate you.
Yeah.
No. Maybe in
Yeah,
my
you
dream.
would not do that.
Maybe in my dream.
You would
she
want to
went-
do that, but you wouldn't.
Okay,
Went
okay.
right for I hate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't be my go-to line. But what would you do if you did see somebody flirting with Charlie? Like, very obviously trying to get with him. Would you step in if you saw it, witnessed it in person?
I think if it was getting really overt, if she was like, let's go outside, or like, you know, being really obvious, I think I would say, like, what are you doing? I think that's
Yeah,
what
I
I'd
don't
say.
think it
I don't
was
think I could.
wicked obvious.
I don't think I could contain myself. I wouldn't say I hate you, but I think I would say, "Excuse me, go away."
Yeah. If it was more subtle, like it just seemed like someone was flirting, I don't know if I would say anything, but definitely later I would be like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, I still might
But
say something.
but I might like subtly just like you know, step in and
yeah.
people do that.
hey,
I feel like.
Hey, can I steal you for a sec?
Yeah. Oh, I hope that doesn't happen.
Oh my god. I feel like I would get a rush of like violence.
I
Like,
know.
tendencies.
I felt that one time, I think.
Yeah.
I was very unhappy.
Like, what if you were like at a club, or not that you really seem to go to clubs, but like someone just like started like grinding up on your boyfriend? Like, what would you do? I think I would like.
We did go to a club on New Year's Eve. But yeah,
Or ask for his number or something.
I feel like a stranger would be easier, but if it was like a friend of a friend or something, that would be really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to cause a scene, but what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You know? I hate you.
I hate you. It all depends on the delivery.
Yeah. Well, now it's 1932, and Diego's exposition was a huge success. And after New York, he went to Detroit with Frida to paint murals there for the Arts Commission and Ford. He was paid roughly a little more than $500,000 for his work in today's money. Sadly, on July 4th, 1932, Frida suffered a miscarriage. She had been pregnant for only a few months at the time. She spent nearly 2 weeks in the hospital afterwards, and based on reports, Diego was with her the entire time. He even gave her a lavender orchid during her stay. She included the flower in her paintings about the event. After the loss of her child, Frida tried her best to continue on as normal, but then, sadly, again, in September, she received word that her mother was sick, so she returned back to Mexico without Diego, and a week later, her mother passed away. Yeah.
That's a really hard time.
I know. She was going through it. Unfortunately, Frida was not having a good time. In October, Frida returned to Detroit and reunited with Diego. Though they had only been separated a month and a half at most, he lost a lot of weight and so apparently was unrecognizable upon her arrival. And according to Frida's friend and Diego himself, Frida did not like his new look, and Diego believes that Frida was honest with herself and him. She would admit she doesn't love him that way, but she wouldn't. And I'll send a pic of what he looked like.
Wait, like she didn't love him anymore because he lost weight?
Yeah.
What?
Apparently she liked him the way that he was.
She had a type. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He does look like older. It's just like a relatable thing. Like that does happen to a lot of couples. Someone, their appearance changes in some way where in theory you should love the person that you are with. Regardless of what they look like, you should love their soul. But it does seem to often happen that a change in that person's appearance can change feelings for the other person.
I feel like it shouldn't change your feelings, maybe, but you might feel less attracted to them. But I do think if you actually love them, you would still love them, you know?
Yeah. But a change in attraction can change how someone views the relationship.
Yeah.
In general. But that's someone who might need more of attraction and passion and like physical stuff in the relationship.
It's a very complicated, nuanced question, but yeah, you should love your partner no matter what. And I think she did continue to love him and stay with him, but I think maybe it was just a lot of changes at once. You know, she was going through a lot. She lost her child, she lost her mother, and then she comes back, and I think she just felt like Diego wasn't the same person.
Yeah,
it was just a lot. Like she came back, she saw him, he looked completely different, and I think he just also probably didn't feel the same way. He usually, you know, it was just a different person to hug and to be comforted by. Yeah. So I think it was probably just different.
I actually think he looks better, but
I do too.
I guess she wasn't used to that.
No.
I'm surprised. I mean, I guess it's 100 years ago, but
yeah, close to.
What made him moving to Detroit? How did that make him lose weight? I don't know. He just put himself on a strict diet, I think.
Was she doing like a lot of cooking for him when they were together? Like maybe he was just eating less because she wasn't
maybe
there?
It was just, yeah, maybe. I think that was probably it.
He couldn't fend for himself.
No.
So it's 1933, and after Detroit, the Riveras went to New York again. Diego was commissioned to paint murals in the RCA building in Radio City. In May, however, halfway through the project, Diego was fired for incorporating communist symbols and messaging, including a portrait of Lenin. And his mural, though halfway done, was scrapped and destroyed. So that was one of the murals that is no longer there. The Riveras continued to stay in New York afterwards. Diego had some other commissions, and while there, Diego began an affair with one of his assistants named Louise. It didn't help that Frida apparently was also sickly at the time, according to Lou Bay, spending most of her time in the bathtub alone with her paralyzed right foot. She was very homesick. She and Diego apparently fought often about going back home. He didn't want to leave. He wanted to stay in New York. One night in particular, a friend of Frida said he took a knife into a painting he did of Mexico and tore it apart in front of Frida and said, "I don't want to go back to that."
Wow.
That's really sad. I would be devastated. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like she's already lonely, and I would not want to see someone stab a painting of Mexico if that's your home. Like, that would...
Yeah.
That would be really heartbreaking. And dramatic. That's really dramatic. I imagine they were, like, yelling.
They definitely were. Yeah. And then after that, he just stormed off. But thankfully, by the end of 1933, he had finished all his work, and he and Frida did head back to Mexico. And once there, they moved into their new home that Diego had designed for them, which I mentioned before, had 2 houses connected by a bridge. Diego's house was larger in pink, and Frida's house was smaller in blue.
Very Helena Bonham Carter and Tim Burton of them. So they lived separately?
Yeah. Although I think they do occasionally share a bed. I think they mostly share a bed.
Like, so they have sleepovers?
Yeah. His house, it was larger, but I think it had a lot of space for his studio and, like, selling paintings. So now it's 1934, and although they are back in Mexico and living in their brand new house, things are not great for Frida. I keep wanting to say Frito because it's Frida and Diego combined.
Well, you can give them a couple name.
Frito. Shortly arriving back from New York, Diego started up an affair with Frida's sister, Christina.
That's just crossing the line.
I never understand when sisters do that to each other, too.
I know. No one knows actually when it began, but most people think it was when they came back from New York. And it seems like based on Herrera's research, in mid-1934, Frida found out about the affair. And there's no way anyone can make the argument in this case that she didn't care. Like, she cared. Like, obviously. Like, it's her sister.
Yeah.
And Frida cut off her long hair and stopped wearing her, like, Tawana dresses. And she just poured all of her heartbreak into her art. And around this same time, when this is all going on, Frida was pregnant. And she was having a hard pregnancy, too. And she actually had to undergo another abortion for pregnancy again.
Oh, she's just going through so much. And then he has to do that. Like, control yourself.
I know.
I know this happened, like, 100 years ago, but...
He's an asshole.
Not every desire you have matters.
I know.
Exactly. If everybody acted that way on every desire, like, it would be chaos.
Yeah.
Don't you kind of see how I kind of mentioned before, even though it's bad, being exposed to sex at such an early age kind of had a negative effect on Diego.
Oh, yeah. I would imagine it would on anybody.
Yeah, as a result, I think he just had no inhibitions when it came. Like, he just has all these desires for women and he just can't control himself.
He seems like an addict almost.
It seems like he thinks it's no big deal, too.
Yeah.
Which is probably something maybe he had taught himself when he was young.
Probably.
It's just a physical thing that you feel and experience.
Yeah. Although Frida did at one point get an apartment of her own and consult a divorce lawyer, she did not pursue the matter further. In the end, she forgave her sister and Diego for the affair, even though her sister and Diego did continue to sleep together until well into 1935.
What? Oh
so they were not remorseful.
No, they just kept sleeping together.
That's really gross. That's your brother-in-law.
Yeah.
I know.
That is not okay. These people's lives were wild.
I don't know. July 23rd, 1935, Frida wrote her husband a letter. She said, "I now know that all these letters, liaisons with petticoats, lady teachers of English, gypsy models, assistants with good intentions, only represent flirtations, and that at bottom you and I love each other dearly, and thus go through adventures without number, beating on doors, imprecations, insults, international claims, yet we will always love each other. All these things have been repeated throughout the 7 years that we have lived together, and all the rages I have gone through have served only to make me understand in the end that I love you more than my own skin, and that though you may not love me in the same way, still you love me somewhat. Isn't that so? I shall always hope that continues, and with that I am content. And supposedly after this letter and a failed assassination attempt, Diego left Christina for good.
Someone tried to kill him?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's really sweet, although it is sad. Why does she think that he doesn't love her as much as she loves him?
Because obviously he's cheating with all these other women.
I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, he probably doesn't if he's sleeping with her sister. For most people, I feel like that would be the big scandal that ends it all.
Yeah, that
would be a deal breaker.
Yeah.
How do you come back from... I don't even know how you would, like, face your sister after that, too.
I know.
Somehow, they did.
I couldn't even imagine, like, sleeping with your sister's ex. Like, they're not even together anymore. It's someone from their past. But their current partner is next level betrayal.
Not even their current partner, their current husband.
True. Crazy.
Husband.
And he's not even cute. Maybe if he looked like Brad Pitt or Zac Efron, I could see it. Like, okay, twist my arm, sure. But this is like charity work for both of them.
It's like scary how charismatic he is.
I know, like, how is he getting all of these women? Well, it's 1936, and after Frida took Diego back after the whole Christina situation, Frida did begin taking lovers of her own, both male and female. And apparently Diego encouraged her affairs, which doesn't surprise me. Obviously he would. Although supposedly only the homosexual ones. She did have to hide from him whenever she was stepping out with other men. He even threatened to shoot at least one of the men that she tried to sleep with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it doesn't help a relationship. We've said this. It doesn't help a relationship, but he's already clearly established this is not really a monogamous relationship.
Exactly.
So,
that's the rule.
Yeah.
Fair's fair.
Yeah. I think I read that she had some kind of fling possibly with the artist Georgia O'Keeffe.
She said that I read in the Frida biography that she flirted with Georgia O'Keeffe.
Oh, that's it?
But it didn't say that it didn't say anything further than that.
One time I was like, oh, can I do an episode about them? Two artists, but I don't think there's enough.
I don't think there is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. That would be cool.
I know. She's known for her outfits too, just like she would wear denim. Just denim on denim.
Just denim.
Anyway.
Yeah. In 1937, January, the Riveras welcomed Leon Trotsky and his wife into their home to stay. He was a Russian revolutionary who had been exiled from the Soviet Union. During his stay, he and Frida began an affair. I don't know how people know this, but people think Frida initiated the affair to get back at Diego because Trotsky was his friend and political idol. But again, who knows? Apparently also Diego knew of the affair, though it did not last long, and when it did, Trotsky supposedly wrote Frida a 9-page letter begging her not to end it.
Wow.
Again this late year, sadly, Frida had another abortion and miscarriage.
That's so sad.
That's too much for one person to go through.
I know.
That's crazy.
At that point, I feel like if she were to get pregnant, like it'd be hard to even expect, if I was her, that it would work out.
I think she was coming to that conclusion, and I think Diego was trying to persuade her, like, hey, like, it's probably not going to be in our cards, but she just loved children so much, and she really wanted to have a kid that she just was insistent and was persistent about trying, that she wouldn't really hear it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. In 1938, Diego encouraged Frida to exhibit her work. I don't really know why it took so long. I guess she was too shy. And she almost immediately began selling paintings.
Were they of other subjects. I feel like I only know her self-portraits.
I think they were self-portraits, actually, so she just started selling herself.
People were buying them.
Yeah.
Nice. She's like the original selfie girl.
Yeah. She would have loved Instagram.
She was going to an exhibition of hers, and while she was on the way, she professed not to care about Diego's other girlfriends and used to tell me, I think one of her friends, dispassionately about a girlfriend of Diego's who was also a friend of hers. She wanted to give me the impression that she missed Diego but didn't love him anymore. Sometimes she'd talk about him in a sort of masochistic way, and sometimes as if he were her darling slave whom she couldn't abide. That old fat pig, he'd do anything for me, she said. I'll tell him what to do, but he's so repulsive. At other times she'd say, he's just a doll. I'm so lonesome for him in a funny way. I just adore him. It was all double talk, depending on her own mixed feelings. Whatever the state of her marriage, there is no question that Frida was worried about leaving Diego alone in Mexico, and he was concerned that everything should go well for her in New York. Anyway. So she was in New York for an exhibition, and he was in Mexico. I think she's concerned because she was worried that he was going to step out and, like, have flings, but...
Probably.
She was very successful at the time, both professionally and personally. She had many suitors. One in particular was a Hungarian-born photographer named Nicholas Murray. However, despite her romance with Murray, she wrote to Diego on December 8th, 1938, his birthday, saying, among other things, Diego is the name of love.
Oh, very poetic.
1939, no one knows the exact reason, and because of that it feels very sudden, but in September 1939, Frida and Diego began divorce proceedings.
What?
And by the end of the year, they were officially divorced.
What?
That just came out of nowhere.
I thought Diego was the name of love.
I also don't understand because I feel like they have both told us so much by his own admission. He has told us that he was a cannibal, so how does it not come up why you're getting divorced? Could have been a really bad reason if he kept it to himself.
Well, they do have statements. I think I said 274. I didn't feel
consciously uncoupling.
Yes, pretty much.
I mean, there's definitely been enough reason.
Oh, yeah. True.
Yeah.
They've just made it through it, and so you would think they would continue to, but what did they say?
The separation had been accomplished with no trouble, no fuss, Diego told a reporter at San Angel. There are no sentimental, artistic, or economic questions involved. It is really in the nature of a precaution. His esteem for Frida, he continued, was higher than ever. Nevertheless, I believe that with my decision, I am helping Frida's life to develop in the best possible way. She is young and beautiful. She has had much success in the most demanding art centers. She has every possibility that life can offer her. While I am already old and no longer have much to offer her, I count her among the 5 or 6 most prominent modernist painters. And when the same journalist interviewed Frida in Coyoacan, she had little to say. We've been separated for 5 months. Our difficulties began after my return to Mexico from Paris and New York. We were not getting along well, she added, that she had no intention of marrying again and cited intimate reasons, personal causes, difficult to explain, as the motive for the divorce.
Difficult to explain. I like that. Oh, that's sad though. I don't know why. I didn't know that they were going to get divorced.
Yeah. But Diego said years later in his autobiography, once on discovering that I was having an affair with her best friend, he refers to Christina. I don't know why he said best friend, it's her sister. Frida left me, only returned with somewhat diminished pride but undiminished love. I loved her too much to want to cause her suffering, and spare her further torment, I decided to separate from her. In the beginning, I only hinted at the idea of a divorce, but when the hints brought no response, I made the suggestion openly. Frida, who had by now recovered her health, responded calmly that she would prefer to endure anything rather than lose me completely.
Aww.
The situation between us grew worse and worse. One evening, entirely on impulse, I telephoned her to plead for her consent to a divorce, and in my anxiety, fabricated a stupid and vulgar pretext. I dreaded a long, heart-wrenching discussion so much that I impulsively seized on the quickest way to the end. It worked. Frida declared that she too wanted an immediate divorce. My victory quickly changed to gall in my heart. We had been married for 13, actually 10 years. We still loved each other. I simply want to be free to carry on with any woman who caught my fancy. Yet Frida did not object to my infidelity as such. So then they got
What did he
a divorce.
say?
I don't know.
What could be worse than the cannibalism thing?
No.
I don't know. Maybe he told her about the cannibalism.
maybe.
But he said it was a lie. Maybe the cannibalism.
I don't know.
Wow. That seems like a movie. How I feel like people do that in movies. They just like make something up, like "I don't love you," and then the other
Maybe it was
person's like,
that.
"Oh," and then they didn't mean it, but they just. I feel like he just wasn't. From what I'm hearing, he just wasn't willing to try to be better and try to like be a better husband. And it was too much pressure. Mm-hmm. I feel like it was weighing on him. Like he knew he was sucking his husband and he just couldn't take it anymore.
I think it was that he didn't love her.
At all?
What? I think so, because I had forgotten this because it said, on the day the divorce papers came through, Frida had nearly finished what was probably her best-known painting, the two Fridas. And so she was working then, again, the two Fridas. There are two full-length self-portraits on it. One of them is the Frida that Diego had loved. The second Frida, the woman who Diego no longer loved.
What?
I think it was that, like, he just... And when the divorce papers arrived, while we were looking at the picture, I half expected her to seize the dripping instrument and fling it across the room.
But when did this happen? When did he just fall out of love with her?
I think he was just lying. I think he just felt like he was hurting her, and so
Oh, so you,
he
I thought you said
he just lied,
Wait, when did he lie? He lied about not loving her?
not loving her.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying the reason
just said
was
that
he
you
just
thought-
didn't love her.
Yeah.
No, I said the reason that was the lie.
Oh, you made it sound like you really thought that he didn't love her.
No,
You did.
You did
did.
say that.
no, no.
Mel agreed. I agree.
Yeah. You'll hear it back.
Well, anyway, like she did after Diego's affair with her sister, Frida chopped off her hair, chopped it short again.
Like how short?
Pretty short. I think it was like to here, like to her,
Like a bob
like,
or a pixie cut?
I think like a bob, but she kind of slipped it back in her paintings, so it was almost like it was like a pixie. I don't know. There's really no good pictures.
Sounds
of
like
it,
it's
but
a
when
short
she
bob.
paints it,
Okay.
yeah, I think it was like a short bob,
Like
but
a
when she
really
paints
short
it,
French bob.
She like gels it, so you can't really tell.
Like, I'm thinking, like, not to bring him up again, Brad Pitt, like,
Like a
he has,
bob.
like, kind of, like, longer
Oh, I love
hair.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Amelie's bob.
yeah,
Pretty short.
But yeah, so she moved back in with her parents, but despite the divorce, Frida and Diego continued to stay in each other's lives, and they made appearances together both in public and in private. In 1940, February, Frida wrote, "I see Diego very often, but he doesn't want to live in the same house with me anymore because he likes to be alone." She writes more, but then she continues, "Well, anyway, I take care of him the best that I can from a distance, and I will love him all my life, even if he wouldn't want me to." In May 1940, there was a failed assassination attempt against Trotsky in Mexico, who I mentioned before, who had an affair with Frida, and Diego was wanted for questioning, so he fled to San Francisco. Similarly, Frida was also wanted for questioning and actually had been arrested because apparently she knew the assassin. She was also ill, which Diego knew about, so he invited her to follow him to San Francisco and get help from a doctor she knew in California, and Frida agreed and went.
Why would they flee if they're innocent? Also, that was their friend. Why would they murder him or try to?
I don't
Doesn't
know.
make
There
any
was a lot of drama going on there.
That sounds like
And even though Frida had a steady boyfriend at the time, when she went back to California,
Aw.
she actually started things back up with Diego.
No.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And on December 8th, 1940, Diego's 54th birthday, she was 33, they got remarried.
Oh,
What?
you just got divorced. What, last year?
Yeah, last year.
Wow.
I'm going to send a picture.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
a mistake.
Yeah, it did seem really sudden. Oh, I kind of like his glasses.
Yeah, me too.
I know. I like his
It looks
glasses
a little bit
too.
better here.
Mexican artist to re-wed on birthday. That's the headline.
Yeah.
Diego Rivera, the Mexican muralist, and his divorced wife, Frida Kahlo. Wow, what a scandal.
And then there's another picture.
After this picture, is it okay if I go to the bathroom
Yeah, I'd
No.
go to the bathroom too.
and top off my drink?
Sure.
Oh, wow, the kissing photo.
One extra hand, I think, in this photo. And I don't know whose hand that is.
Someone's like reaching in.
Yeah. And
Wait, I don't
what
see it. I
that
only
is.
see 4 hands.
See
Yeah, but
how,
it's not her
see how there's like a
hand.
hand on top of his?
Oh yeah, how is that?
It's another
doesn't
like
make
right
sense. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, because that can't be hers. That's so weird.
Maybe it's just someone grabbing them for like another photo.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe.
That's funny.
Wow.
But like that's kind of metaphorical because there's always like another party in their relationship.
Oh, true.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, go bathroom.
Okay, let's take a break. We're back.
Okay, so they're remarried.
Yes. And married life seems good for Frida and Diego the second time round by all accounts. Very domestic. Definitely got the sense that they knew each other very intimately. Comfortable and friendly, but not boring. In April 1941, however, Frida's father passed away, and his death had a very profound impact on Frida's mental and physical health. Sadly.
I think it's funny how you said like they were intimate and knew each other well. Like, yeah, they were
No
married
shit.
for 10 years.
I know. But, like, the way that their marriage was described, because Hayden Herrera, the author, goes into it, it was just like they knew each other so well, though. Like, I don't know. It was like they were one mind in a way. I don't know. They just...
That's nice.
They definitely knew each other very, very well, which you would come to expect, but they were very similar. It was like they were the same person. Like they shared one mind, kind of, in a way. So then it was 1942, and construction for Diego's pre-Columbian art museum began. According to Frida, he had one of the largest collections. It was one of his passions. But at one point during the process, he ran out of money, so Frida actually sold her apartment to help lessen the expenses.
Wow.
The museum still exists today. It's called the Diego Rivera Intoxicatingly Museum. But it just goes to show that Frida was just like giving it all the second time around, you know, just proving that she was committed, that she just gave up her apartment, because that was the apartment that she bought when he had cheated with her sister.
Oh wow.
Just to kind of have that ounce of independence, you know.
Okay.
So now she's selling it just so he can have this museum. So
Wow.
he can have
Wow.
it. So she's kind of giving up that independence. So for him,
It seems like she's
Wow.
proving
really
that she's all in.
she's really burying the hatchet. I do feel
Yeah.
like she doesn't have to prove anything though.
no, but she is.
But
She's
I'm
doing it.
wondering if
even though
she
doesn't
is
need to.
expecting or trusting him to be faithful now. If she thinks something has changed, or if she has come to peace with the way that he is.
I think she's come to peace with the way that he is. That same year, 1942, Frida's work began to increasingly pop up in museums across the U.S., most notably in New York's Museum of Modern Art and Boston's Institute of Contemporary Arts, just for reference, in case you're wondering what was going on with her career. And thankfully, unlike most men we cover on this pod, Diego did not appear jealous in the slightest. He seemed to encourage his own clients to buy from her whenever he had the chance. He had enormous respect for her. According to Herrera, Rivera took pride in his wife's professional success, and he would tell people that before he had paintings in the Louvre, Frida had the honor first. He loved to show her off to his friends.
Wow, I was worried about that. I thought that the sudden divorce could have had something to do with that in a way. So
No.
I was
Yeah,
wrong.
thankfully that's not, it's not like a Ryan Philippi type of situation. No. Her success has nothing to do with any conflict between them. Frida also began working as an art teacher around this time, first at the school and then from home due to her health. She had constant headaches as well as pain in her foot, leg, and spine. By this point, she was seen usually either wearing a plaster or steel corset. Sometimes she suffered other ailments and had to be bedridden or stay in the hospital for days or months on end, and surgeries were common. In 1944, supposedly Frida and Diego were separated for much of this year. I don't know how people know. I'm not really talking geographically. I guess I don't know if they got into a fight or what. They continue to see one another, but not as a married couple.
What?
I don't know how that makes sense.
Aren't they married though?
Yeah.
But they're like, they're separated.
They were just like kind of separated.
But they're still seeing each other.
But they're still seeing each other, yeah.
Okay. They're no longer together, but they're legally married.
Yeah. Even so, in 1944, this year that they were separated, Frida gave Diego a piece of work for their anniversary. And I'll show you this piece of work.
Oh my goodness, so dramatic.
I know. And many people, art historians, think that this piece of work is a negative interpretation of their marriage. Some people think it's a positive interpretation of their marriage.
This is actually so
I don't really know what to believe.
Do you want to describe it, Kate?
That is cute.
Yeah, so it's kind of a mosaic with shells and beads. It's mostly shells, actually. And it says Diego on one side, 1929, and then it says 1944, and then it says Frida. And then in the middle it has the moon, and then it has a shell, and then it has some roots, and then it has a small portrait of Diego, well, one half his face, and then a small portrait, one half of Frida's face, and they're like one half of Diego's face, and then side by side with Frida's face, so they're like conjoined. And then I don't know what's next to them, like some brown circle thing.
I know. First I thought it was a chestnut. But then I thought maybe it's supposed to be the sun.
It looks like the sun, yeah.
It might be the sun, but it's like brown. I don't know. It could be the sun. It probably is the sun because it's the sun and the moon.
Yes, that would make sense.
For some reason, art historians think this is a negative piece because they're split down the middle, and that means...
No, I think it's so cute, actually.
It's negative. I don't know. But I think it's a romantic piece. It seems very romantic.
I think so. It looks like they're two halves of one person.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and they're like inside of a heart.
Oh, yeah. It's a heart, and there's the roots.
You're right, you're right.
The shells, and
like
the sun and the moon.
And it's just such a cute little project she made. Like, it looks like it took a lot of time, and it looks... I mean, obviously it's handmade, but it just looks very handmade, and it's sweet.
Yeah, I think it's very cute and romantic.
It's too critical of the art historians.
I know. People are so annoying.
Like, why would someone put hours and hours into this, like, anniversary gift, and then they're like, it was a negative thing? I mean, their relationship definitely was tumultuous, but it looks really sweet.
I know. Why would she also give it to him and then it'd be like a diss?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I spent ages on this birthday card for you, or anniversary card, but there's like resentment in it.
I don't know. People are stupid. Also, I think I saw someone somewhere where someone was like, oh, it says 1944 on the top, like 1929 to 1944, which means that they broke up in 1944. I'm like, 1944 was the year she gave it to him, so obviously it's gonna end in 1944. Like, she's not gonna have it be till 1950. Like, she doesn't know. Anyway, so it's 1946, and Frida supposedly began an affair with a Spanish refugee who was also a painter. That much is all we know about him, other than the fact that his name began with a B, and Frida, apparently, based on her notes or letters, loved him very much. It's hard to tell whether or not Diego knew about B. Wow. However, because of her injuries and illness, Frida had a hard time having relationships with men, including B, so Frida sometimes turned to women for intimacy, and sometimes those women were women that Diego was sleeping with too, according to historians.
Wow.
Yeah. I know, a little too much free love in the Rivera household.
Did they have threesomes with the women, or no? Like, just separate?
I think they
affairs.
probably did, but I think they were also separate. However, there was one woman in particular that was definitely hands-off to Frida. According to Diego's autobiography in 1946, he began an affair with a movie star named Maria Felix. And he even got serious enough with Maria to consider leaving Frida for her. But then, I guess for the better, Maria refused his proposal, so they broke up. And Frida, unfortunately or fortunately, whichever way you look at it, took him back, and they did not get divorced for the second time.
I see it as unfortunately. I don't support the marriage. To be honest.
Yeah.
I don't. And I don't ship it.
I mean, if they made it, if they were faithful and worked it out, then I would support it. But
Yeah.
I just feel like, no, I mean, to each their own. If they don't mind, like, sleeping with all these different people, but I was lost after he slept with her sister.
Yeah.
Just can't see past it. And I have no faith or trust that he wouldn't do the same thing again.
What's funny is Frida became friends with Maria Felix, and she just became friends with her for the rest of her life, which is funny. Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't get how these people are doing this.
And despite all his affairs and the hurt he put her through, Frida loved Diego. In her journal she kept at the time, she wrote, "I love Diego, no one else. And Diego, nothing is comparable to you, and you are all the universe, and no one will ever know how I love Diego. I don't want anything to wound him, nothing should bother him or take away the energy that he needs to live the way he wishes. To paint, to see, love, eat, sleep. I would like to give it all to him. If I had youth, he could take it all." In 1948, way back in 1929, Diego was kicked out of the Communist Party, and Frida left alongside him out of allegiance. I mentioned that before. Even though she didn't want to, not really. She's politically a communist through and through, despite being all this time not officially part of the party. In 1948, Diego convinced Frida to rejoin the party, even though he could not, and she did. So he kind of did this one good thing for her by being like, hey, even though I'm not part of it, you should be a part of it. But he probably should have done it sooner. Like, 20 years, man?
Yeah.
You should have told her earlier. Like, it's been 20 years. Anyway, it's 1949, and Frida published Portrait of Diego as an introduction to his exhibition at the Palace of Fine Arts held in Mexico City. In this piece, she wrote, "Being the wife of Diego is the most marvelous thing in the world. I let him play matrimony with other women. But also, I will not speak of Diego as my husband, because it would be ridiculous. Diego has never been and will never be anyone's husband."
But they're married.
I know.
He's your husband.
I think she sees him as, like, more than just husbands. Like, he's bigger than just
But it's like,
husbands,
then,
you know?
Yeah, but it's like, then why did you even get remarried? Like, what was the point of it when you're talking about it, when the conversation comes up, like, hey, let's revisit this? Like, I don't.
Why can't he just channel his energy into his art? Why does he need to be having all these affairs and shit? Like, I don't get why husband is a limiting role. Like, you can still be everything you want to be, like, interesting artistic person.
I don't know, because that's just who Diego was, I guess. That's just who Diego was. Kind of like Leonard Cohen, where he was like, I know if I get married, I might cheat. And Diego
But
was
he
the same
didn't.
way, I guess. Because he didn't get married.
But he didn't make any promises. Marriage is supposed to be a promise.
I don't think Diego made any
It's a
promises
sacrament.
Well, he didn't get married in church.
Yeah. Then, but like, yeah, I do wonder why he even wanted to get married
I don't
again.
know.
It seems like she's talking herself into it a little bit. I mean, I don't know. We don't know her, but like, it seems like she's coping with the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she really believes it, but she seemed pretty hurt before.
I think she truly loves him as a person, but it is deeply hurtful, I guess, that he is cheating on her. Because it's like, why ain't I enough, you know? But I guess she does think he is just so insatiable for sex, I suppose, that...
God.
Maybe part of her is like happy to have him off her.
Maybe.
True. That's true. Channel your energy elsewhere.
Because he is older too. I don't know. I wonder if she's like that attracted to him.
Yeah, that could be. Physically.
Even though she loves him. But
yeah.
I don't know. And she probably is.
I'm surprised
Seems
he's
like
able
she
to bag
was.
so many women. That's the craziest part. And oftentimes, this is a generalization, and it might not be super fair. It is the men who stereotypically might not be seen as super attractive that I fear sometimes are more likely to cheat because they get a high off of each like conquer.
Yes. Validation. I see that too.
And it's an addiction almost.
My
that could be it
strange
too.
addiction.
Because he might feel inferior. And this came up many, many episodes ago with Prince Charles and Diana.
Oh, yeah.
Like we mentioned, he didn't feel threatened by Frida's career, but he might feel threatened by her age. She's younger and she is more attractive than him, that it gives him some power to be unfaithful.
Maybe.
He was that way with his other wives, too, though.
Oh, you're right.
But they were also attractive. So
True.
I don't know if we'll ever have the insight into his psyche that we would want, but there's definitely something going on. Well, anyway, so two paintings Frida accomplished this year, 1949, incorporated Diego, one with him as a giant baby in her arms, and another, as she'd done before in another painting years earlier, as a portrait on her forehead. Just wanted to say that because, you know, he comes up sometimes. In 1950, in January, Frida was admitted to the hospital due to pain in her foot and leg, as well as a headache and a fever, and she'd remain in the hospital for the remainder of that year.
Oh, no.
And Diego rented a hospital room beside her so that he could spend every night but Tuesday with her. Tuesday, apparently, he was working at the museum. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
But he would apparently stay by her side and rock her to sleep in his arms. He would read her poetry or distract her with music and dancing when she demanded it. And this was a pic of them at the hospital.
Oh, that's sweet.
He could be very loving when he wanted to be.
She's so gorgeous in the hospital bed.
I know.
Yeah, she has makeup on and
Like I told you,
all
she
these rings.
would, even when she was very sick and even when she was in the hospital, she'd always like to be very stylish and done up.
There's a communist symbol on her
Yeah.
dress.
It's on her corset, the plastic corset. Well, I don't know when exactly Frida was discharged from the hospital, but by 1951 she was back home. She had to have a staff of full-time nurses as well as a wheelchair and crutches to get around. And Frida's lover, B, was still a part of her life at this time, and she continued to have relations with many women as at Diego's persuasion, as did Diego. And a friend of Frida once said that Frida suspected her, this friend, of having an affair with Diego. So Frida apparently... Okay, I just want to issue a trigger warning before I get into this. But a friend of Frida once said that Frida suspected her, this friend, of having an affair with Diego. So Frida apparently tried to hang herself from her bed's canopy. But thankfully one of her nurses found her, and so she survived. According to Rivera, however, that was only one of many attempts Frida made at this time.
Oh, that really makes me sad to hear. Makes me sad because I feel like she's also having these relationships with other women and she's being unfaithful too, but like at the encouragement of Diego. So it kind of gives the illusion of like they're in a non-monogamous relationship.
Yeah.
But if she had it her way, it wouldn't be like that. So you can see like how deeply it's affecting her, his unfaithfulness, but she's convincing herself that they are doing it together.
Yeah, and she's already so fragile, both her mental and physical health regarding, like, she just got out of the hospital. She already probably feels not the greatest, and this wasn't true. Obviously, her friend wasn't sleeping with Diego.
But I don't think it's obvious. Her sister was, so...
No, I mean, it wasn't... Okay, well, it wasn't true.
Okay.
But if it had been true, it would have been terrible. And it definitely would have been something that would have sent her over the edge, so to say. And so it's just something that, like, she already was in such a state that, you know.
Yeah, this just pisses me off.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really confirms that she didn't want that and she was only doing it to be with him. And we've talked about that before. How people will lower their morals or their values or abandon them just to be with someone that they think is like so amazing and so worth it or something. And it's sad. And I think it would be kind of incorrect to like say that she was into non-monogamy or free love, because it seems like she wasn't.
No, I don't think she was. I think, like I said before about how they would be like people who would be championing like ethical non-monogamy, they would be the people who would be like, we're into that, but behind closed doors, like he would be the one who'd be championing it and being like, I want to open the relationship, we're going to be ethical monogamy. But obviously she'd
they
be
didn't say that back then.
No, but if this was the present day,
yeah.
they'd be so open about it. But she'd be the wife who'd be like, I was forced to open the relationship, like I didn't want this, you know?
Yeah.
Because she clearly wanted a monogamous relationship. Like she so craved love and wanted a husband who just wanted her, you know? And definitely didn't want, you know, this sort of situation where he was having these lovers.
When we did the George Harrison, Patty Boyd one, there was a lot of infidelity. I remember one of our listeners, I forget who, I'm sorry, but you were saying, like, I think it was just free love or something. And I do think that, that's like what George would have said, but I don't think Patty was happy. So, I don't know. I think, like, it's kind of wrong to just, like, whitewash the past sometime and be like, oh, they were just, like, free love. I'm like, actually, it was, like, really destructive. And she almost killed herself over this. So,
Again, Frida's mental state was also very fragile at the time. Yeah, so when she got back from the hospital, Frida and Diego lived quite separately. They did not even sleep in the same room or bed. He was remarked to be sometimes tender, sometimes callous, neurotic, and unreliable. Even still, around this time, Frida told her journalist friend named Bambi, I love Diego more than ever, and I hope to be of use to him in something, and nothing will ever happen to Diego, because the day that he dies, I am going with him, no matter what. They'll bury us both. I have already said, don't count on me after Diego goes. I'm not going to live without Diego, nor can I. For me, he is my child, my son, my mother, my father, my mover, sorry, I don't remember even writing that, but it must be real, right? Oh, it must be lover.
Makes
like,
more
mover. It's like mover. My father, my lover, my husband, my everything.
Oh. No, Frida.
I know, it's very sad, but she definitely did very much love him. And in August 1953, Frida had to have her right leg amputated.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And this was obviously a very hard loss for Frida. According to friends and family, the operation completely altered her personality. She became a completely different Frida, withdrawn and depressed. She didn't paint or talk to anyone, not even Diego. As Diego tells it in his autobiography, she no longer even wanted to hear me tell her of my love affairs, which she enjoyed hearing about after our remarriage. She had lost her will to live. And I remember reading that and being like, I don't think she enjoyed hearing about that to begin with, Diego.
Oh my gosh.
He's an idiot. He's so stupid. And it's like stupid that he even tried to talk about his love affairs after she just lost a limb.
I know. I'm sure before she was just so willing to please him and loved him, and maybe he was putting on a show. I don't know. Or maybe she somewhat enjoyed it. I don't know. But now she's in so much pain. Probably she can't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
She can't even pretend, you know?
When I talked about how they were so, like, comfortable in the beginning of their remarriage, they were, like, so jovial and they were, like, having fun. I think they were able to make light of some of his affairs pre-remarriage, and they were able to, like, kind of laugh about it. And so maybe that was kind of, like, what he was getting at. But it's, like, why are you bringing this up? Like, why are you talking about your affairs?
Yeah.
I don't know, like, that's, like, time and place, you know?
Well, I also feel like when you're in that much pain, you're probably, I'm guessing she's bedridden.
Yeah.
She can't have sex. Like, she can't go out to dinner. She can't go dancing. She can't do stuff. I don't want to hear about you and someone else doing all these things that I no longer can do. Like, it seems like he lacks the sense of grief that she would be experiencing for life as it was before. And, like, why would you want to... Like, she probably doesn't even want to hear about her friends' love affairs, let alone her husband's love affairs with other people.
I know. And when it came time for Frida to leave the hospital and go home, she initially didn't want to because apparently she had seen a woman living with Diego at his studio before her surgery and suspected that she would be at their house. I don't know, this part kind of confused me. And even while at the hospital, this woman visited Diego, and apparently this caused Frida to make another attempt. But either way, Frida did end up going home eventually, even despite, I think, Diego's girlfriend continuing to live in his studio. I know.
Really
Diego
sad.
sucks. I know. And as much of a bastard as he is, which I think we can all admit, Diego did love Frida, and her illness did affect him. Ugh, I don't even know why I wrote this. He was miserable that she was miserable, and he would apparently cry often seeing her as she was. Diego apparently once said while crying, "If I were brave..." Okay, this is kind of a shit thing to say. He said, "If I were brave, I would kill her. I cannot stand to see her suffer, so..." I know, it's not right, but this...
I don't think it doesn't sound like he really loves her.
I know, it's a terrible thing to say, that's what I said. And it's not right, but his misery over her illness did drive him away. Because he was... Because she was very ill, mentally and physically, and I felt like he was powerless and helpless, and so he didn't really know what to do, so he also just kind of detached himself.
Did he still take care of her or no?
Yeah, he was still around and he tried to take care of her, but he wasn't like a nurse or anything, so it was hard to
I guess so.
do what he could. He was also old himself. He was like, how old was he at this point?
You might have already
He was
said this,
67.
why exactly did she need to get her leg amputated? Did she have like an infection?
She had an infection, yeah. I think she had gangrene.
Oh gosh. Is a lot of these health issues, are a lot of them from her car accident?
They're from her car accident, and then also just having it not have been treated well initially, and just it not have been treated well by doctors afterward. And just not having
treatment
had
making
modern,
her sicker.
Not having modern medicine and stuff like that too.
Was it the bad leg that she had from polio?
Yeah.
Wow. That's so unlucky.
She was dealt a horrible hand. I mean, it's good that she was a terrific artist, and she became famous.
Yeah, she got to be a famous artist,
everywhere.
I guess.
But still, it's like, at what cost, you know? Frida said of Diego at this time, "He is so strange in his ways of living that I have to guess whether he loves me, because I think he does love me, even if it is in his way."
At this point, it's too complicated to even make sense.
I know. So then it was 1954, and despite poor health and their marriage on the rocks, Frida was apparently in high spirits, anticipating her and Diego's upcoming 25th wedding anniversary on August 21st. She had even bought ahead of time an antique gold ring to give to Diego. Aww. And on July 2nd, 1954, she and Diego went out together to a demonstration against the U.S.'s involvement with Guatemala. Frida was in a wheelchair, and it was one of, if not the last times, Frida was seen by the public. As 11 days after the demonstration, Frida Kahlo unfortunately passed away on July 13th, 1954. She was 47 years old.
What was it? Just like, was there a specific reason, or?
Yeah. For some reason, some historians believe she may have committed suicide.
Oh, no.
Others believe she may have accidentally overdosed on drugs. However, according to Diego's autobiography, it's believed she had a pulmonary embolism. He had been by her bedside when she handed him the ring that she got him for their anniversary. And he asked her why she was giving it to him, and she said, "Because I feel like I'm going to leave you very soon." And a few hours later, by his account, she passed in the night.
What is that? Pulmonary?
It's a blood clot that travels to your lung.
Yeah.
I believe, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to really get too into this, but Caitlin sent me 2 pages from the book about Frida's last days, and it was really sad. But it seemed like her mental state had changed a lot. Why do you think that is?
I mean, some of it was from the amputation, but I mean, a lot of people chalk it up to the amputation, but I think it was kind of the just dying.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it
Part
seemed
of it?
like.
Yeah, I think she was dying for a while.
I don't think she
And-
killed herself. Just, I mean, based on
No.
that, like, description you
That's what
sent
I
me, it
think.
seemed like she really
Yeah.
was, like, going.
I think she was going through like what our mom went through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why people think she killed herself.
Did
It
they
seems
do
totally incorrect?
like an autopsy? That's how they know she had the pulmonary embolism, that's like a very deadly thing. If that happens, it's not good news. So
I don't think they did an autopsy. That's why I think everything's so up to interpretation.
Oh, that's so sad. She was only
Yeah.
in her 40s.
Yeah, she was 47.
Tragic.
very sad.
Yeah, very tragic. And Diego obviously took the news of Frida's passing hard. It was said he became very haggard and silent and gray. However, one of the first people he called and the first person who came to the house was his girlfriend who lived at his studio, a woman named Emma Hurtado, who was also his art dealer and had been for some time. Even still, in his autobiography, Diego wrote, "July 13th, 1954 was the most tragic day of my life. I had lost my beloved Frida forever. Too late now, I realized that the most wonderful part of my life had been my love for Frida." After Frida's death on July 29th, 1955, Diego married that woman I mentioned before, Emma Hurtado. However, their marriage did not last long. He died 2 years later on November 24th, 1957. He asked that his ashes be mingled with those of Frida Kahlo's in the garden in front of the Blue House, her childhood home, but for some reason they were not. Frida Kahlo's ashes are at the Blue House, which is now a museum. Diego's are at the Rotunda of Illustrious Men at the Panteon de Dolores Cemetery in Mexico City on the orders of the current president.
Rest in peace.
Yep. And that's Frida and Diego.
Wow.
Wow, that was crazy.
That was
I know.
quite a story. Oh my god.
Yeah. I wasn't really lovey-dovey that much,
No.
but it was really interesting to learn about them.
Yeah.
I'm
Did
sad
you think it was going to be more romantic?
I had hoped so. I didn't know really anything. It makes me sad that she had said all those years ago that she like wanted to have his babies and
I know.
never got to have that experience that she had dreamed about.
Life is so cruel
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
beautiful at the same time. I don't know why I was thinking this. I mean, Kate, you did a ton of research,
Yeah.
and I really commend you for that. Thank you. I'm in awe.
Thank you.
I was thinking when I went to the bathroom earlier, do you think there's anything you learned about life from researching them?
Oh.
I feel like just be yourself in a way, like really embrace like your eccentricities, kind of like Frida. Like I really just want to be more stylish and just be myself
Aw.
in terms of my personality and my appearance. I know that's not really them as a couple or really research, but she was just so herself, and I really admired that.
That's a great takeaway.
Yeah. It's sad because, I mean, well, it is sweet that she is such a famous artist. She's, like, arguably the most notable Mexican artist
Yeah, I think so.
in history.
One of the most notable female artists.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely, for sure. But it is sad that she didn't really have, like, the most, you know,
Happy.
happy life.
Do you think you can be happy
And be an artist?
Yeah.
I know, but the
I know
thing-
that's one of the questions.
One problem, I mean, a lot of, like, her health issues all were beyond her control. So, like, I think sometimes artists, this might be controversial hot take, sometimes artists can bring about their own unhappiness. And that might have been the case somewhat with her staying in this marriage to this guy who was not faithful to her.
maybe.
But sometimes they can, like, it's like, you're making all the wrong choices. Do something else. But, I mean, a lot of it was like she was dealt a bad hand, too.
I feel like Diego is relatively happy.
He was just causing destruction left and right.
He was like a sociopath.
I don't know. Yeah, I hope he was a little bit torn up about the things he did. Yeah,
I
it's
think
interesting.
if someone is able, and I can't get over the detail, like if someone is able to eat a human being, they don't they have something missing. Like,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't really feel that bad about cheating.
He's
That's
something. Something.
Yeah.
Psychopath, sociopath, narcissist. Something's going on.
Something's going on, and he doesn't feel bad about the stuff that he does. Because if you can stomach that, you can definitely stomach cheating. You don't feel any guilt about that.
I know. If it's true, yeah,
I would say
he's a psycho.
Cannibalism is worse than cheating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too.
For sure. 100%.
Unless it's like a survival, like, and the person's already dead, like the plane crash.
100%. At that point, it's not your
yeah.
fault, and I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, that's traumatizing.
No, but like choice cannibalism.
I think like it does indicate an insane lack of empathy for other human beings. That's why I think we can't stomach it, because we think this was a person with a life and someone just like me, like a human being, a person.
I mean, even
if they're dead, that's still disgusting.
we don't even feel comfortable with like animal cannibalism. Like when you hear about like a chicken eating a chicken or something, it's like, oh, that's not right. Something about that's just not right.
There's also another kind of fucked up story
That you didn't mention?
that I didn't mention.
But now that we're at the after hours.
Yeah, we're at the after hours. That remember.
What
is it?
You tried to hide this from us.
His mom? No, I totally forgot. I think there was just the cannibalism story, and this didn't really have to do with like Frida. So I was like, should I mention this? And I was also like, I just didn't know how many fucked up stories to tell about Diego. His mom was pregnant, or she had been pregnant, I think with his sister, and she told him like, oh, I think like a stork delivered the baby or something, and he didn't believe it. So he found a pregnant animal. I don't know. It was like a small rodent or something. He cut up the animal, and he found like the baby inside the animal and saw that the baby was in there. And he took the animal and he threw it at his mom.
Oh my gosh, how old was he?
That's really bad.
He was a kid.
That's actually,
still.
but isn't killing animals
like one of the
in
first
such a way? Yeah, it's one of the first signs
of being like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Sid from Toy Story.
I know, I was just thinking that.
No way!
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
It's a really bad sign.
Either we didn't hear everything, or he actually turned out surprisingly okay post-cannibalism and everything.
I think he surprisingly turned out okay.
Because you would think on that trajectory he would become like a murderer or something.
I think if cheating was as bad as he was, that's good.
Well, thank you, Kate, for such a well-researched episode. That was wild. On a lighter note, hopefully.
Oh, yes.
Who are we covering next week? Can you give the listeners a hint? This is on our Patreon next week.
Yes, in 2 weeks, we are covering the winner of the poll that I did, because I said that 2 couples won. One was Frida and Diego, and the other is this couple that we're covering. And that is a semi-modern couple, 2 actors that dated or were together in the early 2000s.
Nice.
That was also tragic.
Oh,
okay. Tragic love story, early 2000s.
Yep.
I think that this episode, the one coming up, I know it is highly anticipated, not just because it won the polls. I even saw someone had even guessed that
I saw
our
that
most
too.
recent couple, Chris Martin and Gwyneth Paltrow, that they were maybe hoping it was this couple. So
finally getting it.
Not then, but now.
Well, we will see you then.
Yep, we will get back together in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Is your heart filled with pain? Shall I come back again? Tell me